Hey, hey, ho, ho. Killer Koh has got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho.
Killer Koh has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Killer Koh has got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho.
Killer Koh has got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho.
Killer Koh has got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho.
Killer Koh has got to go.
We gotta keep.
Killer Koh has got to go.
Not great, but I'll do something.
Okay.
I don't know how to board.
Forward feeling. Anyway, Francis, thanks for your steadfast and persistent bringing these issues down.
Clock struck noon.
So, should we start?
Yes, whatever. It's in your hands now, guys. I don't know. I mean, is anybody seeing this or hear us?
It doesn't matter. Here.
Okay. Okay. I agree.
I want to thank everyone for coming here today and standing for some principles in this work. My name is Francis Boyle. I'm the senior professor here at this College of Law. I've taught here since August 21, 1978. I've taught longer than anyone on this faculty. And this is the most despicable act this faculty has ever done to the people of this community since I arrived here in August of 1978. They have brought in a war criminal, a genocider, a felon, and a liar.
Shame.
And they are holding him up as an example of what the role lawyers should play in government for this entire community and our lawyers to be at the College of Law. The law faculty has poisoned and polluted our entire community where I have lived and worked and raised my 3 sons to manhood since I came here in August of 1978. Now that's saying something because this College of Law was already condemned by the American Bar Association, our accrediting agency, for grossly unethical and corrupt behavior. The ABA condemned 5 deans in a row, 5 of them, and 4 of them got a sanction by the American Bar Association and fined $250,000, which is unprecedented in legal education. And now they bring in a war criminal and a genocider. We had thought by bringing in this new Dean Amar that he was going to clean up the ethical corruption here at the College of Law. And instead, he has brought it to new depths of the sewer. There's no question about it. Now, I told this entire faculty every crime that Killer Koh committed, not only working for Clinton, but also working for Reagan. Yes, in 1983, Killer Koh went to work for Reagan and justified every hideous atrocity Reagan inflicted on everyone all over the world. 35,000 dead in Nicaragua, 75,000 dead in El Salvador, 200 to 250,000 dead in Guatemala. Most of the Mayan Indians outright genocide. And Killer Koh was up to his eyeballs in all of this. I won't review the whole Reagan record here, but you have to have been sick and demented to go work for Reagan in 1983. And this man is sick and demented, and this faculty is sick and demented for inviting him to come here.
Here, here.
Shame.
Shame on you alive.
The whole faculty knew what his crimes were. I told them as early as the summer of 2015, the summer before last, and they invited him anyway. Why? Killer Koh is a high-level member of the Clinton presidential election campaign. That's why. Okay? They brought him in here 10 days before the election to campaign for Clinton as president. They had all of last year to bring him in here, and they didn't. They had all of this year to bring him in here, and they're bringing him in 10 days before the election to get Clinton elected president. And it's already been reported that if Clinton is elected president, Killer Koh is in the running for either Secretary of State or Attorney General or some other high-level position in the Clinton administration.
No.
This is academic bootlicking at its worst. This faculty is inviting him in, helping to get Clinton elected, Killer Koh elected, in the hope and expectation that there will be some nice cushy slot available for all of them in a Clinton administration. Indeed, Killer Koh, Yale Law School, Mrs. Clinton, Yale Law School, our current Dean Amar, Yale Law School, our previous Dean Smith, who was sanctioned and fired by the provost for unethical behavior, Yale Law School. This whole law school is run by a Yale Law School mafia, and they're bringing Killer Koh in here to lick his boots, get Clinton elected, and then get some nice slot there in a Clinton administration. Academic careerism, that's the way it works. And by the way, they're paying him, our standard honorarium for one of these honored lectures is $5,000. They're giving him $5,000 to spend the day here campaigning for Mrs. Clinton.
Unethical.
Killer Koh has got to go.
This clearly violates the Illinois Ethics in Government Act that prohibits any use of university funds for electoral purposes. I would encourage all of you to file a complaint with the Illinois Inspector General, not the Attorney General, but the Inspector General, and get an investigation of these ethically corrupt law faculty. Now, what did I tell the faculty about the record of Killer Koh working for Clinton, which they ignored? Indeed, that's why they brought him out here. They all support Clinton. First, the drone strikes. Killer Koh is the legal architect of the Obama-Clinton drone strikes. He signed off on these murders. These drone strikes are outright murder, war crimes, crimes against humanity under the Nuremberg principles, and genocide against Muslims of color. Muslims, Arabs, Asians, men, women, and children of color. All of them. And in addition, Killer Koh signed off with killing Mr. El-Waki, murdering a United States citizen. As of now, at least 4 United States citizens were murdered in violation of the United States domestic criminal statute, making the murder of a U.S. citizen, intentional killing of a U.S. citizen abroad, murder. In addition, they murdered Mr. El-Waki's 16-year-old son, an American child, was murdered. They say it was a mistake. The Intercept book says it wasn't. He was deliberately murdered. We have a guy in there now who has murdered an American baby.
Shame.
Shame on Koh.
Clinton Koh have got to go.
Clinton Koh have got to go.
Clinton Koh have got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho.
Clinton Koh have got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho.
Clinton Koh have got to go.
Clinton Koh have got to go.
In addition to the drone murder campaign, which now we see drone murders thanks to Clinton and Killer Koh in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Yemen, and who knows where else soon. All of Africa now is being populated by U.S. drones. They're going to be murdering black Africans. Do you see a pattern here? That people of color count for nothing here at this law school.
Next will be North Dakota.
They are Untermensch, like the Nazis saw it. They're non-people to be exterminated. And that's exactly what this Nazi faculty of law have done here by bringing Killer Koh in here, giving him all this publicity, giving him all this media attention to get Mrs. Clinton elected. In addition, he worked hand in glove with Mrs. Clinton on the criminal war against Libya. Notice, 50,000 dead. Africans, Arabs, Muslims, murdered in Libya, thanks to Clinton and Killer Koh, as well as 4 United States citizens, one of whom was our ambassador to Libya. They were all murdered, courtesy of Clinton and Killer Koh. That entire country now is in total shambles. It's collapsed. It doesn't exist. And then we have this massive refugee crisis set off by Clinton and Killer Koh, with tens of thousands of Arabs and Muslims and Africans trying to flee through Libya and drowning in the Mediterranean. All that is on the heads of Killer Koh and Clinton. And I would also say this faculty of law, they are all accessories after the fact to the war crimes, crimes against humanity, crimes against peace under the Nuremberg Charter, Judgment, and Principles, and the Genocide Convention. They are all accessories after the fact. And I was originally hired here to teach criminal law, and I practice criminal law, and I know an accessories after the fact when I see them. That's this entire faculty. All of them.
Hear it.
Clinton and Killer Koh also started the regime change operation in Syria that we see now. 250,000 dead Syrians. For the most part, again, Arabs of color, Christians of color, Muslims of color. Do you see the pattern?
Yeah.
And this law school couldn't care less about these people. They are endorsing 250,000 dead Syrians. They are all accessories before and during the fact.
Harboring
with respect
criminals.
to Syria.
Harboring a criminal.
In addition, of course, we have Mrs. Clinton's email scandal. All right? I already gave an extensive interview on this. I'm not going to go through it. But clearly, it's a conspiracy to defraud the United States government. You can just look up at the U.S. Attorney's website on that, It's right on there. It's a felony. And Killer Koh admitted he advised Clinton on her emails. Indeed, we have a nice little picture of them there. Iconic picture you can call up on the on Google of Killer Koh with Clinton and her picture checking her BlackBerry email. Killer Koh was part of this conspiracy to defraud the United States government. This guy is a felon. And the College of Law faculty, knowing this full well, because I told them, brought him in here anyway, because they support Killer Koh. They support Mrs. Clinton. And they support all the atrocities that Killer Koh and Clinton have committed. Each and every one of them, they have supported. And they brought him in here to help get Clinton elected president in 10 days. And this will render them all accessories before the fact. Before the fact. To all the Nuremberg crimes against peace, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and genocide that will be inflicted by Clinton and Koh after the inauguration. Indeed, it's more dangerous than that. Mrs. Clinton and Koh, if they are elected, are going to usher in World War III. You have already heard these statements repeatedly made by Mrs. Clinton, warmongering against Russia. There is no other word for what she has done. Comparing Putin to Hitler. Give me a break. I've been on 2 lecture tours over there in the Soviet Union. I've toured the front lines, the Nazi front lines, at Leningrad and Moscow and Stalingrad. I've seen what the Nazis did to the Soviet Union, killing 26 million of them. It's just warmongering propaganda by Mrs. Clinton, designed to provoke a war with Russia. And indeed, it has already been reported in the national news media that the Clinton advisors today, as we speak, are already preparing a list of measures that can be taken to jack up the pressure and the confrontation with Russia that could lead to World War III. Likewise in Syria, where Killer Koh helped Mrs. Clinton with this regime change operation in Syria that has killed 250,000 Syrians. Mrs. Clinton is openly calling for a no-fly zone in Syria, just like she and Killer Koh did in Libya. And even our top military generals have publicly stated a no-fly zone in Syria will lead to war with Russia.
That's right.
It will lead to war with Russia. So it's very clear. If Clinton and Killer Koh are elected in 10 days, the risk of World War III, it will be imminent between the two of them. And I hold this entire faculty accountable as accessories before the fact to World War III if Clinton and Killer Koh started, which looks quite likely right now.
So let's build for peace and justice.
Yes. Yes.
And that is one of the reasons we're here today. To stop World War III, to stop Nuremberg crimes against peace, crimes against humanity, and genocide by a Clinton Killer Koh administration. Just like they did for the 4 years they were already in office, they're going to do it again in January of 2017, and in the process could very well set off World War III. We have to start the campaign, the peace campaign, against the Clinton administration here and now.
Yes.
Yes.
We start now. No World War III, no war crimes, no crimes against humanity, no genocide, no Nuremberg crimes. We in the American peace movement are not going to take it, and we are going to start to organize here and now against it. And indeed, we already have organized against it. We're organizing against the Clinton, a criminal Clinton and Killer Koh administration. Finally, our representative from Black Lives Matter, Gus, couldn't be here today. He's sick. So I don't wish to sound too presumptuous speaking on his behalf, and I'm not speaking on his behalf, but my own behalf. But I do want to say some words of support on behalf of our African American brothers and sisters who are really up against a wall. That's for sure. Just turn on the pages of any television set. Black lives matter.
Yes.
Black lives do matter.
Yes.
But not here at the College of Law. This year, they admitted only 3% of their entering class were African Americans.
Shame.
3%. Now, when I came here in 1978, to give you a comparison, the Bakke decision had just come down. We had an excellent affirmative action program. The faculty adopted it and approved. It's still on the books. And before Hurricane Heidi Hurd, who was later fired and disgraced, became dean, we had about 10% of our entering classes as African American. Now, any professional educator will tell you that in order to speak in class, African Americans need a significant minority to feel comfortable. And I can tell you, many of these African American students took my courses, spoke in class, and offered their unique perspective on international law and human rights to myself and the other students. What did Hurricane Heidi Hurd, the dean, do? She immediately cut that figure to 5%. She gutted our affirmative action program for our African American students, despite the fact that the faculty had approved it. Why? Oh, well, she figured their GPA and LSAT would be a drag on our national rankings. Well, guess what? When I came here in 1978, we were ranked number 15. Last year, we were ranked 47th. Way to go, Hurricane Heidi Hurd. Great job. And Uncle Brucey Smith. You guys just did a great job, and the whole faculty did just a wonderful job driving the ranking of this school down into the dirt. And now, today, under Vic Amar, down into the sewer.
Eye on them all.
Now, that 5% continued under the successor deans. And now we have this new dean, Amar, that we, the faculty, brought in here to clean up the mess. And what has he done? He's reduced the number of African Americans to 3%, even worse than Hurricane Heidi Hurd. And that's where it stands today, 3%. And this faculty could not care less. They are a gang of bigots and racists against African Americans. That's for sure. And they don't want to do anything about it because they figure, oh, well, they might hurt our national rankings. Well, you can't hurt people sitting at the bottom of a sewer, I'll tell you that. And that's where this entire law school is sitting right now, here, today, at the bottom of a sewer. So notice, they're bigots and racists against African Americans, and they're bigots, racists, and warmongers against Muslims of color. Do you see the pattern here?
Yes.
I think it's pretty clear. Again, as far as this faculty is concerned, people of color, whether it's here in the United States or abroad, are Untermensch, as the Nazis saw the Jews. That's right. That's their attitude here.
How many Native Americans in
None.
your college?
None. And as a matter of fact, when we had one Native American student here, the idiot dean of the law school then, Tom Mengeler, put a graven image of Chief Illiniwak right in there, in his office, so that when everyone walked in, including my one Native American student, they saw it. Just to torment my Native American student. Just to torment him. He did that on purpose. Isn't this faculty sick and demented?
Yes.
And this has been going on for years. Literally for years. It's time to put an end to this. And that's why I'm here to speak out. I've been a licensed attorney since January 10, 1977. Like my father before me, going back to 1950. This faculty is not fit to educate lawyers, members of the bar, and officers of the court. Even worse, no one should come here to study because they will brainwash you to emulate Killer Koh. That's their model. Go out and murder and exterminate Muslims, Arabs, Asians, men, women, and children, invade their countries, and while you're at it, kill and murder some U.S. citizens in the process. So this is what confronts all of us here today. This College of Law, this faculty, has poisoned and polluted our entire community today. And I would encourage all young people not to come here to study. And as the father of 3 sons, I would encourage them and all other parents not to come here and study and see your children turned into war criminals, murderers, monsters, genocidaires, and bigots and racists against African Americans and Muslims of color. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Harry Michelide. I'm a founder of STEM Boycotts the War Machine. Let's start off with a quick chant. Shame on you, Koh! Shame on you!
Shame on you! Go! Shame on you!
Clinton is a killer just like you!
Clinton is a killer just like you!
You threaten the planet and our children too!
You threaten the planet, children too!
Shame on you, Koh! Shame on you!
Shame on you! Go! Shame on you!
Yeah, so my name's Harry Michelide. I'm a PhD student in physics at the university.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. It's science. What a lot of people don't realize, though, is that the STEM community, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, sets the scale and sets the tactics of warfare. Drones, nuclear weapons, rifles, even all the way back to gunpowder. None of it would be possible without the work of scientists and engineers.
And nukes.
Yes, and nukes. So the point of STEM Boycotts the War Machine is to get a critical mass of people from the STEM community to sign on to a pledge saying they will not work for any defense company, they will not work for any defense laboratory, and they will not work for any military in the world.
Here, here.
Yes. Yes.
So the stakes are high, right? Weapons are killing so many people today, all across the world. Human lives are at stake and are being murdered daily. But the stakes go even higher than that. Right now, we're being threatened by ecological collapse. All of our riverways are being polluted across the world. Climate change is threatening all of us. If we don't do something about the world that we live on and to take care of it, then we're not going to survive as a species. And we're going to need to cooperate as a world if we're going to solve any of these ecological programs. And you cannot cooperate with a country whose families and innocent children and women you are murdering at will without trials with drones. That doesn't work. You can't cooperate with somebody who you're killing en masse without accountability. And so that's what the stakes really are. We can't solve climate change if our war machine keeps rolling and rolling. That's why we need a strong peace movement. That's why I'm here today. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is David Johnson. I'm the host of the World Labor Hour program on WRFU 104.5 FM in Urbana, Illinois. This is Radio Free Urbana. And I'm here today because, well, some people may ask, how is this a labor issue? Well, for one thing, it's a labor issue because it's our sons and even some of our daughters who have to fight these wars in order to make corporate profits for the few, the 1%. And this is a serious problem, and it goes way beyond that. Do we really want to live in a country that basically has the morals of Nazi Germany, that invades countries to steal their resources, to push down their human rights to where they can get cheap labor for a tenth or a 20th of what it costs to make products here in the United States? I don't think so. And this is why I'm here today. I'm sick and tired of seeing our tax money going. Half of our national budget goes to the war military machine in order to expand this imperialistic corporate aggression across the world that's killing hundreds of thousands of people, costing trillions of dollars, and I'm tired of it. I don't know about you, but it's got to start. It's got to start now. We've got to start fighting back. We've got to rebuild the peace movement in this country that was made impotent when Obama came in, because remember, he was supposed to be the peace candidate. But what happened? He not only continued the policies of George Bush, he expanded them. It's like it doesn't matter if we elect a Democrat or a Republican, the same policies continue. And it's got to stop, and it has to stop now. Thank you.
My name's David Green, and I'm speaking partly on behalf of the Prairie Green Party. This is not a campaign speech, but I want to reflect on some of the Green Party values. I'm going to read a short statement here. The Green Party slogan is people, planet, and peace over profit. You can find that on Jill Stein's yard signs, which I have some in my trunk, if you want one. That means, in short, opposition to the exploitation that comes part and parcel with capitalism. I was reminded on an alternative news program this morning that the U.S. has been bombing Iraq continuously for the past 25 years. But prior to that, during the 1970s, we began supplying handheld rocket launchers to Islamic fundamentalists to fight the Soviets in Afghanistan, leading eventually to the attack on the World Trade Center in 2001. And since the 1960s, we've been supplying weapons to Israel, which it has used both in occupied Palestine and Lebanon. This only begins to scratch the surface of our military interventions in the oil-rich Middle East and South Asia, obviously ongoing, likely to be imminently escalated in a Clinton administration, which is likely to be advised by the likes of Harold Koh. These interventions have only continued the U.S. drive for global economic control that began in earnest during World War II. Since then, we have become what some foreign policy thinkers like to call the indispensable nation. In order to enter into the foreign policy establishment, one must subscribe to the notion of American exceptionalism, not just in terms of our military power, but the moral ends to which that power is extended. Legal justifications are assumed to operate within this high-minded framework. But as with all things having to do with capitalism, it comes down to transparently crude justifications for exploitation for the benefit of a small ruling class. That is profit. The actions of our leaders are made legal in the same manner that the actions of Nazi leaders were made legal within their system. The question for citizens of this state comes down to whether we want our public educational institutions to willingly and blatantly participate in providing the legal edifice to justify these violent, immoral, species-threatening, and planet-threatening policies. Thank you.
David Green, President.
Yeah, okay, David, will you speak? Arlie? Lena!
You want to say something?
Lena, come here. Let me go get Stuart.
No, he's going in. I want him to go inside.
Come on, Michelle, Hillary Koh.
Hi everybody. It's really important that we're out here today because I think as everybody has previously talked about, the next president's probably going to be Hillary Clinton. And we know what we're looking at there. We're not going to get any kind of change from the endless war that this country's been inflicting on the planet for the last, since 9/11 specifically, they've said that they can inflict death upon anyone, anywhere, no matter what. And now they have the technological ability to do so with these drones. And as Harold Koh says, there is literally no legal limitation to using these drones to kill people. And we know thousands of people are being killed, including many children. So it's very important that we're out here and we're saying no. As people of conscience, no matter who's elected, we know it's probably going to be the proven war criminal Hillary Clinton. And potentially Harold Koh as part of her administration, that we're saying no, and this movement needs to spread. That we need, as people of conscience, to say no to this endless war. And not because it's expensive, not because we want money for jobs or whatever for us as Americans, but because it's wrong and that American lives are not more important than anybody else's life. Literally, somebody was just talking to me about how it was wrong that we were saying in the flyer here that the university shouldn't have invited this guy because free speech, everybody has a right to a point of view. Well, I'm sorry, but this Harold Koh was a part of the government. He was a part of actually carrying out murder. A lawyer is not exempt, as Nuremberg showed. He could be brought before the International Criminal Court if possible.
If the U.S. joined the International Criminal Court.
Thank you. So
he should come here. If he's going to come here and speak, let him speak to the public at a public college. Let him speak to the public and be accountable to the public, as opposed to simply the law school professors and students.
And let's have a debate.
Let's serve him a citizen's
Free
arrest.
speech. They're just ramming this guy down the throats
Thank
of
you.
everyone at the law school and in this community. It's that simple. As a matter of fact, they even added on an extra special session this morning so he could just come in and justify all the Nuremberg war crimes, crimes against humanity, crimes against peace, and outright genocide that he and Clinton have inflicted and intend to inflict in January of 2017, up to and including World War III. He's in here mongering for war, for a world war. That's what's at stake here.
And all of the institutions in this country are complicit, particularly the ones that host war criminals like this. So it's completely justified for us to denounce any institution that will welcome war criminals into their midst to promote and propagate more furthering war crimes.
He was appointed by Obama.
And Reagan before that.
Reagan
So-
before that, yes. He worked for...
And Clinton.
This guy worked for Reagan. I mean, isn't that sick and demented? I was down there in Nicaragua in 1985 to investigate Contra atrocities. And 35,000 Contras were murdered. Sorry, 35,000 Nicaraguans were murdered by Koh and his Contras. And I was there under a death threat for all Americans by the Contras. This guy tried to murder me and Ramsey Clark and Len Weinglass and 2 French-Canadian human rights lawyers who were down there. And later on, they would murder Ben Linder, a U.S. citizen, a hydrologist from Urbana, who was just there to bring clean water to the campesinos in the countryside. And Killer Koh and Reagan and their Contras murdered Ben, a martyr for peace. They got Ben instead of me.
Anyone else want to speak? Oh, Lena, you're not finished.
No, I think.
I want to thank Lena.
I think it's really important that we continue. Too many people right now are distracted by Trump. He is a fascist. He's a vile pig, no doubt. But just because you're standing next to a vile fascist pig doesn't make your war crimes any prettier.
Thank you. I want to thank Lena and her team for coming down here from Chicago and demonstrating some support here to the peace community in Champaign, Urbana. Thank you.
And thank you to Professor Boyle for not giving in to, I'm sure,
A lot of
decades
pressure.
pressure to get along with
Your faculty member.
complete BS.
Yeah.
I feel like Ed Norton. You remember Ed Norton from the Honeymooners TV? Ed spent his career working in a sewer. And I have spent my career here, August 21, 1978, working in the sewer of this law school. You know, the Nazis had their lawyers too. And the Nazis had their law schools too. And that's what we have here today. A Nazi law school and a Nazi faculty. And they're going to turn out Nazi war criminal lawyers to replicate Killer Koh, and that's why they have him here.
Think outside the ballot box.
And just to add on to that, like, based on the conversations I've been having to students going back and forth, you know, some who are going to attend and some who they just want to go get lunch or whatever, whenever you talk about Nazi Germany and you start, it's the boogeyman, and they think you've lost your mind. All rationality has left the discussion, right? But the point is, it's about morality. It's about whether or not we think that German lives or American lives matter more than anybody else's. Literally, it's not the case that American lives are more important than anybody else's. And these thousands of people that are being killed by the drones right now that are not going away, and in fact are expanding, are just as precious as anybody's life in this country. And Harold Koh, Hillary Clinton, the rest of the Democrats, everybody who's lining up to support Hillary Clinton because they think that she's better than Donald Trump needs to be asked, how many people need to die all over the world in order to keep us safe?
Solidarity.